everyone, and welcome to Holiday Crafting with me, Miss Jan. This week we are doing Kwanzaa, which is a celebration of African American culture. The celebration takes place from the 26th of December to the 1st of January. It's a really interesting celebration. Maybe you're celebrating it, or maybe you know people who are celebrating Kwanzaa this year. Our craft is going to be this African style inspired hat. In Kwanzaa, during the time of Kwanzaa, people dress in traditional African clothing, and they also give a lot of handmade gifts. So you can make this hat. I've made mine. It is using the traditional Kwanzaa colors of red, green and black. It's super easy. If you really want to, you can use a stapler or a glue gun. If you have those in your home, ask a grown-up if you can do that. Otherwise, we're using tacky glue and this crafting foam. I hope you enjoy making it. I'd love to see a picture of you wearing it. To make our Kwanzaa hat, you are going to need some scissors, a ruler, a pencil, black, red and green foam, craft foam, tacky glue, and you're going to need some pegs. Now I would say if you have access at home to a stapler or to a glue gun, and you have permission, very important, if you have permission to use that, especially the glue gun, please go and check with an adult first. Please do not say Miss Jan says to use a glue gun, because you should have tacky glue to work with. But this is a much quicker craft if you use staples and or a glue gun. I'm not using a glue gun, so I'm going to show you the longer way. But if you have those things, you can use them to make this. But you need to check with the person who's in charge in your house, okay, that you can do that. You're also going to need, if you are using the glue, you're going to need some pegs. I've got some clothes pegs, some clips here. You only need a couple. I've got a variety there to use. So now I'm going to show you how to make your very own Kwanzaa hat. Okay. Right, the first thing that you need to do to make your hat is to get an idea of how it's going to fit on your head. Now, this piece of foam is 18 inches long. Now your head might be that round, it might fit on that, but a lot of people's heads might be a little bit bigger than that. So what we're going to do first of all is we're going to stick 2 strips of this green together to make a longer piece. And what we're going to do is we're going to make the band 2 inches high. So I'm going to mark 2 inches along the green foam, and then I'm going to join those up . And I'm going to cut 1 strip along that line I've just drawn. And then I'm going to do another one. So do exactly the same thing. So 2 inches, two inches, 2 inches there, all the way down. Now with this craft, there is a little bit of preparation, and then it's all kind of just assembling it. So I will be able to, when we're doing this bit together, I can tell you a little bit about Kwanzaa and what it is. You might not have never heard of Kwanzaa, but it is another festival that happens in December that many people in America celebrate. Now, so now I've got 2 strips, and these are long together. So I'm going to overlap 2, and I'm going to stick those together. And then that will be the piece that goes around your head. And once that's dry, you can put it around your head and mark, maybe get a grown-up to help you, but mark where you want your hat to fit you. And this glue does not want to come out of my bottle. Come on. Maybe need to just unclog it a little bit. Sometimes the glue does that, gets a bit clogged up. Oh, there we go. So I'm going to smush lots of glue on here. Smush, smush, smush. Now, obviously, if you have a stapler, you can do this very quickly, or if you have a glue gun, you can do it even quicker. But again, as I said before, make sure if you are using those things, make sure that's okay with the grown-up in your house. And then I'm going to smush these together, and I need to let those dry. So I'm going to use a clip. I'm going to use a clip just to clip that in place. Okay, so I've smushed those together. I've held it with a clip, and I'm now going to put this to one side to dry. And I will show you what you need to do with that once that is dry. So I'm just going to put that over there. Now we're going to work with the red and the black foam. And we need to cut 4 strips that are 12 inches long, so the length of your ruler, and that are 1.5 inches wide. So 4 from here and 2 from the red. And these are going to help build our hat and decorate it. So while we're doing that, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what Kwanzaa is. So I'll show you first of all. We'll cut one, and then we can then I can start telling you. So we're doing 4 from this black one, and we're going to do 1.5. So 1, and then halfway between the 1 and the 2. Make sure that you are working with it where the length of it is 12. You definitely need it to be 12 inches long. So it's 1.5. 1.5. 1.5. 1.5. And then, like we did before, we're going to line up those marks. You just about see them on the black foam. And then I'm going to cut. So if I'm really honest, I had never heard of Kwanzaa until I moved to America. But this is a festival that takes place in December, and it honors African American culture. The holiday lasts for 7 days, and on each day, people that are celebrating focus on one of the 7 core principles, and those core principles are unity, self-determination, collective work and responsibility. So that's being like in a community and helping each other. Cooperative economics So again, economics is about how you make money and run businesses. Purpose, so we all have a purpose, you know, why are we here? A lot of people feel that having a purpose is to help others. Creativity, obviously my favourite one, and I, as you know, Miss Jan firmly believes that being creative makes you feel happy inside. And faith. So families celebrate Kwanzaa by decorating their houses with African art and dressing in traditional African clothing. And this hat is a very, very, very simplified version of a hat that you might see a man in many African countries wearing. Gifts of books and heritage symbols are given, and each day families light a candle. Do you remember for Hanukkah, families light the menorah, which is a collection of candles on a candelabra? Well, if you are in Kwanzaa, there's also a special collection of candles, and it's called they light a candle from, and it's called the kinara, a kinara. And they discuss one of the 7 core principles. And the kinara has a black candle in the middle and 3 red and 3 green candles on either side. So you might have noticed that our craft is black, red and green. And that's because black, red and green are the colours of Kwanzaa. And on the 7th day of Kwanzaa, gifts called zawadi are given. And these are often handmade gifts, which I think is really cool. So I wonder if any of you are celebrating Kwanzaa, or if you know anybody who's celebrating Kwanzaa. I would love to see some photographs of people celebrating Kwanzaa. And again, isn't it cool that at this time of the year, when it's all wintry and maybe there's not a great deal going on outside, that there's all these wonderful festivals and celebrations happening inside our homes. Now, that's my 4th black strip, and now I'm going to do the same with the red, and these will be used later. I think this is probably a good time for me to speed up the film. Right then, so now we have 4 black strips that are 12 inches long and 1.5 inches across, and 2 red strips that are also 12 inches long and 1.5 inches across. Don't throw the rest of your red foam away, because we're going to use that at the end to make some decorative elements around the band. Okay, so now we have to wait for our green band to finish drying, and then we can start to construct our hat. Right then, my strip has dried, and what you're going to do is you're going to put this around your head to decide, to find out how big it needs to be. So look, I've put that around my head, and that I can see where that, I'm just going to clip that really quickly so I know where that is. And then I'm going to snip that greens because I don't need that. And now very quickly, holding this in place, I'm going to squidge some more glue underneath there. Just going to squidge my glue under there. I'm going to have to get some new glue soon, I think. Now again, if you've got a stapler, you can attach it with staples or use your glue gun. If you are using a glue gun, please be very, very careful. So that's, and I'm going to hold that with one of my clips. So that's going to be my hat. Now, if you have enough clips, you can start to construct your hat. And what we're going to do is we're going to use these red and black strips, and they're going to crisscross across the top. So all I'm going to do with that is I'm going to put some glue at this end. So I've got enough clips that I can do a couple of these. If you've only got, say, 2 clips, you're going to have to let it dry and then come back. So it might be that you need to set yourself up somewhere, a little spot in your home where you can leave this stuff to dry. So I'm going to put a clip there, and then I'm going to put that there, so that they're across from each other, and use that clip there. And then I can let that dry, and then this one is going to go, that's going to crisscross that way, like that. But I'm going to let that dry for a little bit. So that's just about holding. It's still drying. I might put a little bit more glue down that one there. That's a little bit. Oh, helps if you take the lid off, Jan. There, put a little bit more glue in there and just give that a squish. I might put a peg in there. Now, so 2 of these you're going to use around the band. So I'm going to put those to one side. These next 2, you're going to put 1 strip going in between the red crosses over the top, and then this one, I'll do this one first, it's going to go in between underneath. So I'm going to do that one first. So I'll do it through this bit. So I'm going to put some glue on each end here. Again, don't worry about this, glue dries clear, so there's nothing wrong with having, I'm going to squish that side, and then I'm going to very carefully put it underneath the cross, the red cross, and then I'm going to squish that in place. It's a bit fiddly. Squish, squish. I'm going to use a clip this side. I'm going to put a clip there. Again, this is super easy if you have a stapler or a glue gun. But, you know, I just wanted to make life difficult for myself. So that's that. And then this other piece is going to go that way. And then again, I'm going to let this dry for a little bit. So I'm just going to put it to one side, because I've only got a certain amount of clips myself to... Now don't worry, you can see I've got a little bit of glue on there. Don't worry, that dries clear, you won't see it. So I'm going to put that there. I'm going to use... Ooh. Going to put 1 clip on there, like that. I've got my other clip here, and I'm just going to clip that like that, and that's going to hold everything in place. And now I'm going to let that dry. I'm not putting any glue in the middle there. I'll see later, but I'm just going to let this all dry now. so that that's all secure. And then we are putting some decoration, and then we're nearly done. Got a little bit of glue oozing there, and then we'll get rid of that. Okay. Now, while I am waiting for the structure of my hat to dry, I'm going to make some decoration. Now, the decoration is going to go on this black strip, so I don't want to make it any wider than this. So I'm going to just use this as a guide. Now you can draw this or you can do it freehand. I'm going to do it, I'm going to draw just so that I know what I'm doing. And I'm going to draw, so the craft suggested foam buttons. I couldn't find any foam buttons, so I'm going to do sort of circular shapes. They don't have to be exact. I'm just going to cut some of these out. I might not need this many, but I'd rather have too many than not enough. And this is something I can do while I'm waiting for all those pieces of the hat to glue together. And then I'm going to cut those out. So I'm just going to cut that down there. Now, if you want, you can make these look like buttons. You can actually put 2 dots in the middle of them if you want to make them look like buttons. I'm going to see. So this foam is kind of static, so stuff likes to stick to it. It's kind of tricky. And I'm just using what I drew as a guide. So it's kind of an uneven shape, but I think that's going to look kind of good on there. So I'm going to cut these all out. This is going to be another good time for me to speed my film up. Right then, it's sort of holding, so I'm going to get on and show you how to decorate your hat. I find this foam stuff, it's kind of static. Things like to cling to it, so I keep finding dog hairs on it. Sorry guys. Anyway, the next thing we're going to do is these pieces are going to go around the band. Dog hair here. My dogs get everywhere, guys. We're going to stick those around. Now, again, we're going to use the sticky glue. You might want to hold it in place with a peg. You might not need to. So lots of glue. And then going to squish that on there. Dogs. Now, you have a smaller head than me, so my pieces might just make it around. Yours might overlap and you can cut it down because you won't need to have it overlapping. So you're going to get those pieces to meet up and then go round. See, mine don't quite reach. I'd need to cut another piece, but yours will go all the way around. It's because I've got a big head. Now, once you've got that in position, again, you can use the clips to keep it in place. I'm going to keep going because I'm going to add my decoration. So remember these pieces that we cut? So I'm just going to get a little bit of glue on there, and that's going to go on that band. Now I'm gluing on the side where you can see my pencil marks so that you won't actually see those on the hat. And I'm just gonna work my way around. I think I've got more of these buttons than I need. Now if you wanted, you could add green as well. You could add another green piece or a green piece either side of the red. Obviously we know that the colours green, red and black are the colours of Kwanzaa, which is cool. Now, some other things. I didn't tell you when Kwanzaa is. Honestly, Miss Jan, what are we going to do with you? So Kwanzaa starts on December the 26th, which in my country is a holiday as well. In my country, the day after Christmas Day, we call it Boxing Day, and it's a holiday. People don't go to work on that day. And now I know that it's also the start of Kwanzaa. And then Kwanzaa runs until January 1st. So isn't that great? You can probably have a Christmas celebration. There's nothing stopping you celebrating both. And then having your Kwanzaa celebration. Now, some of the things, we did talk about the kinara, which is the candelabra that holds the 8 candles. The candles are, oh no, it's 7 candles, not 8. 8 is the menorah. I'm getting those mixed up now. The 7 candles on the kinara are called the Mishuma Saba. I've probably not pronounced that right. And there's also a straw mat that holds the unity cup. The unity cup is a symbol of unity, which is the base of all Kwanzaa principles. It also holds the ears of corn, and an ear of corn is placed under the kinara, and there's an ear of corn to represent each child in the family. So if there's 2 kids in your family, there would be 2 ears of corn underneath the candelabra, the kinara. Mazao, which is fruits, nuts and vegetables that are placed on the straw mat, the makeka, and that represents sharing, unity and hard work. And then there's woven tablecloths, and they're commonly made, it's a commonly made craft that's exchanged on the last day of Kwanzaa. And then there's zawadi, which is gifts exchanged within family members to celebrate the last day of Kwanzaa, which we know is January the 1st. So there, I have done my Kwanzaa hat that's kind of representative of a traditional African hat. It's very simplified. Now I'm going to let this all dry, and then you'll be able to see it when it's all dried. But yeah, there you go. I hope you make a Kwanzaa hat. I would love to see some photos of it. I'd love to see you wearing a Kwanzaa hat. That would be awesome. And I hope you had fun doing this. Okay, guys, thanks for joining me. Happy Kwanzaa. Bye.